Hey, today I'm going to talk about the travel apps that I'm using through mobile or the websites that I'm visiting on my laptop, especially for organizing your travels and comparing prices for things you want to do during your trips or vacation or holidays.
Add it up.
The first category I want to talk about is accommodation. Depending on what sort of a room or space I need, I use different websites. Everybody knows, for example, booking.com. But for instance, if I prefer to share a room and look a little bit more to prices, then I prefer Airbnb. Sometimes I use Agoda, because it's a very good website if you want to compare prices for the same hotel, and then Trivago. But the best deals I usually find when using Agoda, because you can compare the same hotel on different websites. For local information and tourist info, I use two applications. One of them is TripAdvisor. I think everybody knows TripAdvisor. But it's a good option to look for interesting places to go where you are. And I also use SmartGuide. SmartGuide is actually more or less an application where you can do tours on your own, and it will explain about everything you see around you on a guide. Another very important category is transportation. But depending on where you are, I use different apps. We all know Uber very well, and I know you can use it in almost any country in the world. But depending on where you are, some other applications might be much more interesting. For example, if you travel to Asia, Grab is a much better option because everybody's using Grab over there. When you're traveling to South America, then I would prefer Cabify. And when you are traveling in the States, then Lyft is the way to go. For banking, I use Revolut. There is a free way to use Revolut, but when traveling, you should go for the paid version of Revolut. You get a lot of bonuses, like travel health insurance, guarantee on items you bought. They will try to fight your refund if needed, and they even offer airport lounge rooms when your flight is delayed. So it's I pay now about 14 euros a month, and this is all you get. A VPN is super interesting when you travel. It's a lot easier to do things abroad and still do things online that you should be doing from your home country. It can also be useful to use Netflix or other streaming services, but don't forget to turn off the location function of your device so that the browser you're using can't find your true location. To calculate currencies, I use Wisselkoers berekenen, is the name in Dutch. I don't know how it will appear on your English or Italian version, but you will find the link down below in my comments. Another very important one, especially in my case when I'm going to travel to Panama. I don't know any Spanish, but in Panama, in several areas, they only speak Spanish or maybe a little bit English. So I use Google Translate because it's a free application and it works very well. It works actually a lot better when you use English to Spanish instead of your own language, like in my case Dutch, which sometimes it doesn't translate correctly. For flight tickets and flights, I use most of the times Google Flights, because it's a very easy app to use, and as I told in the previous video, you just put in your destination where you're flying from, put in the dates you want to leave, and just enter. It will open the world map and you can pick out the cheapest prices or the cheapest locations to go. What I do is I compare the prices with Momondo, but in most cases the cheapest you will find on Google Flights. And what I also use is Skiplagged. Skiplagged is very interesting when you are going to an airport which is not like an international big huge airport. They will find tickets from flights where actually they just do a stopover. So if you use those flights, they will be a lot cheaper than the regular prices. So that's skip lagged. To find my way, I use Google Maps because, you know, in most cases it will do its job. But sometimes, like for example in Cuba, you don't have internet all the time. And until shortly, being guided offline was not possible with Google Maps. So in that case, I used Maps.me, which even for Cuba, you could be guided throughout the city, Havana, wherever you go with Maps.me. But apparently with the newer versions of Google Maps, it is possible to be guided offline as well. If you don't like to pay for applications for your mobile phone, an interesting app to avoid paying for applications is Google Rewards. You can use this app all over the world. Sometimes when you visit a shop and you go out of the shop, Google Rewards will ask you some questions. And depending on the questions, you will get rewarded with a few cents. It's not a lot, but at least you can use the money to buy applications where you don't want to pay for. So far, I used this already a few months, and within a few months' time, I saved about 25 euros. So it's very rewarding. Although today, most of the mobile phones do have very good video applications where you can vlog with, but at the same time there are better options as well. For example, I use a Filmic Pro. There are two versions. One is a free version, but if you like prefer the more advanced settings, then I would prefer you buy the Pro version of Filmic Pro. And another app, of course, I'm using, because I do have a GoPro, is GoPro Quik. Why? It's usable for other videos as well that are not filmed with your GoPro. This was it for this video. Next week, it's going to be an interesting one, because then I'm going to explain what I'm all taking with me. So see you next week. Bye.